Yeah, I remember the build-up to the 1985 Cup Final. I had been sent off the year before, so this was a big year for me as well, getting to the Cup Final again with Davy Hay. We went down to CELDUN, and I remember the night before the game, I bent down to pick up a cup of tea and my back went into spasm. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not going to be able to play this game tomorrow. Crawled out of my bed the next morning, and fortunate enough, we had a surgeon at the time called George Abrami. He went to see George up in Glasgow. He gave me an injection in my back, and I was able to play the game. And that was the sort of build-up for me prior to that match. But I was just so pleased that I was able to get out on the field and do the job. And we'd been at CML for 2 or 3 days. We knew the importance. It was a 100th centenary cup final as well, so there's a little bit of history involved in that game. We're up against a very, very good Dundee United team. We knew it was going to be a tough game, but as I say, the build-up was very much positive from our side. We felt as if we were good enough to go and win the cup.
Dodds with a lovely back end, it is Bannon. That was a very intelligent piece of play by David Dodds. That's what he's so very good at.
I mean, you think to Dundee United at that time, they had so much good quality right throughout their team. Strong defensively with Neri, Hegarty and Malpass, for example. They had Stark and Dodds up front with Bannon. You know, there's so many good quality players. They were a top side, with top international players actually within their side. So we knew all along that it was going to be a tough match. We had to really be on our mettle right throughout the game, defend well, but we also knew we had players in the team that could cause them problems at the other end. And it was very much an end-to-end game, if I remember. The atmosphere was terrific. I've never seen a Celtic support like it that day. They were fantastic. This 85 final, then the 88 final were, you know, the crowd was absolutely bouncing.
Free kick to Celtic. Either of them could take it. That was a clever ball indeed. Well, the Dundee United defence were expecting something high and chipped to the far post.
Again, you know, we talk about Dundee United being a strong team, but look at our front line at that time as well. You know, with Proven, McGarvey, Johnson and Burns, you know, all attacking players going at teams. We created a few chances. I remember Morris just missed getting on the end of one in the early part of that first half. And they were always a threat at the other end. McGarvey and Johnson were a great partnership together. And with Davy Proven on the right and Tommy on the left providing ammunition, we were always a threat to the Dundee United side right throughout that match.
Here's Dunn. Slipped very slightly there. It didn't come off United. McGrain plays it loosely. Here's Billy Kirkwood. That was a timely interception again by Aiken, who's having a magnificent game for Celtic at the back.
From the defensive side and our side, we had to be strong because we knew the threat that they had with Sturrock and Dodds and Bannon, etc. So it was important for us to make sure that we were solid together as a group. The back four were nice and tight and solid. And my role there was to make sure that, you know, we try and keep the game, you know, with the 0 scoreline, because we always knew that there was goals in our team. But never underestimated the threat that Dundee United would pose on the counter-attack or with their general attacking play.
Stay. A little bit of luck for Celtic. There's McGarvey with an almost great chance. And 1 or 2 Celtic players thought that might have been a penalty. Look at Mill now. Oh, there's too much in that. The pass, the final pass, ruined what might have been a wonderful counter-attack.
I mean, I remember towards the end of the first half, there was a strong penalty claim. Frank just got across the front of, I think it may have been Paul Hegarty, and Paul had a lunge at him. And he may just have clipped Frank. It would be good to see now how VAR would look at that one, because at the time, we definitely thought stonewall penalty. When I look at it from behind the goal, there wasn't a lot of connection, but I think there may just be enough there to put Frank off, because Frank was on the end of that, you know, and Frank wasn't necessarily one for diving. Frank was a brave player, and Frank wouldn't have just dived in the box for no reason. So for sure, if you asked him, and if you're asking me at this stage, I would say it was a definite penalty.
Dainty footwork, David Proven, and McGarvey just ran himself against the player. But a single United player in the Celtic half with just about 30 seconds of injury time gone. And there it goes. No scoring at the end of the first half of the 100th Cup final. The players have been absolutely drenched.
Obviously, nothing each at half-time. The game had been pretty even, as we expected it would have been in that first half. Both teams sussing themselves out, a lot to play for. I remember at half-time, you know, David just told us to keep continuing the way we were going. We were making chances, we were defending well, just to continue on the game plan. I mean, our game plan at Celtic at that time was high-intensity football, as it always was during the course of my career there. High-intensity football, you know, up and at them approach, pass the ball when we get the chance to pass it, get the ball into the strikers as quickly as we can to see if we can create and score chances and goals. And David just continued with that same message. There was no real, you know, going through too much because the game had been pretty even and we'd been defending well and making chances.
Outstanding. Look here. Bannon. Here's Malpass. Oh, could have done that better. David Dodds. There's a shot, he scored. BD has scored. But the feeling is the deadlock is broken. 9 minutes of that second half gone. And there is an eruption of joy under that enclosure. What a clever goal that was, and David Dodds was right at the basis of it.
So I remember at the start of the second half, 10 minutes into the start of the second half, we lost the first goal, and if I remember rightly, Eamon Bannon sort of knocked it forward. It bounced in front of Big Dodds and I probably just got a little bit too close to him to try and intercept it. He rolled me, we were then both chasing back towards the goals. He got a little break of the ball on the inside, and I think I might have been a fraction away from intercepting it, and Stuart Beattie came in and slotted it in the far corner. You know, you look back in those games, you think, okay, the first goal's so important, but as so many times, and even leading up to that game, Celtic, you know, we have that never say die attitude. So it gave us that wake-up call that maybe we needed in the game, to be fair. Obviously, being a goal down now, you know, we're now chasing the game, but in typical Celtic fashion, you know, we've got the never say die attitude, and that team epitomised it as well. And the boss, being the winner that he is as well, made a couple of bold decisions in a sense towards the end of the game. He took Tommy off and brought on Brian McClair. Again, Brian McClair, a fantastic player for the club, top goal scorer when he was here. So we were bringing on a real threat in the forward area. And that was I think around about the 65th minute. And then 10 minutes later, he made the second change and he brought on Pearce, who was on the bench, my good mate Pearce O'Leary, who went into defence, and Davey pushed me forward and took Paul off and pushed me forward into the midfield, and maybe looking for just that little extra energy at that time because we were on the front foot looking for that goal. And I'd done that many times throughout my career, step from the back into the middle of the field. So it was an important stage of the game.
Yeah, I think they've got to take a chance now.
And Paul Day is coming off, by the way.
Yeah, sometimes a manager's got to go unpopular, but to be fair, it's the last cast of the dice for David Hayes. He's going to put O'Leary in the back and push Roy Aitken forward. Hopefully his appetite.
And there goes Aitken just flashing across the picture, Billy, as you spoke. Yeah, it was up there, as you said. Here's the shot I expected. Free kick, and this could be very interesting. Now, I've seen Celtic score from free kicks.
Obviously, I moved into midfield in the 75th minute, and it was really, you know, all guns blazing at that time. We were throwing men forward, really going after Dundee United. They had sort of camped in by this time. If I remember, Packy had kicked it forward, the ball came to me the edge of the box, I knocked it back to Murdo. He took it inside onto his famous right foot, took another touch, and then Eamon Bannon came across and filled him that 22 metres out, just outside the box. A great position for our free kick expert, Davy Provan.
Only twice in the history of the Scottish Cup have goals been scored direct from a free kick. Is this a bit of history? It is! David Provan, the equaliser. 32 minutes of the second half gone, and only the third direct free kick scored in the history of this competition. And they don't care about the history books just now. The reality of the present is that Provan, with one kick, has brought Celtic back into this game.
I know in the past there wasn't many direct free kicks scored at Hampden over the years, but you know, in Davy Provan, you've got a man there who can put that ball in any position. Fantastic striker of the ball, fantastic dead ball striker, terrific crosser of the ball. We were always confident, or I was confident at that time, that Davey's going to make at least the goalkeeper work for this, and we might get a second chance at it. And look what he did. You know, he puts it right in the postage stamp, right in the top corner. And at that time in that game, to score at that time, the momentum was all ours at that stage then. You know, a terrific free kick from a terrific player, and really gave us that little edge to go forward and finish the game on a high.
Garvey. Hegarty. Here's Aiken. Good drifting ball, it's there for Garvey. 2-1. 5 minutes left. And he may survive the jubilation. Garvey has got one of the most crucial goals he has ever scored. And there'll be a great deal of carousing if Celtic can hold out these last 5 minutes. A great run by Aiken and pushing him forward paid off with that one header alone. McAlpin has had no chance with that. From the side, look at that.
We're into the last 10 minutes of the game now, and we're really pushing Dundee United. We've had a few other half chances just prior to that. We've got them on the back foot. If I remember rightly, I'd knocked the ball forward from a central midfield position. It then got knocked back out into the wider area, and I just stepped onto it, took a touch, and just played it in with my right foot into an area. And when you get into those wide areas, I remember the coach will always tell you, find a space in between that sort of defender and the goalkeeper. And I knew I had guys in that middle, with McGarvey and Johnson and McClare, who would all be able to get on the end of something if you put it into a dangerous area. And behold, Frank came up with that fantastic header, brave, diving in across the front of Paul Hegarty, I think it was at that time. I was so delighted for Frank McGarvey, terrific player and goal scorer for Celtic. Frank was always in about where it hurts and where it mattered, and that's why he got so many goals. And that was a typical, McGarvey goal. Okay, the cross came in, but he made that cross out of nothing and put it in the back of the net. And that's what made Frank such a great player for the club. And we were all just so pleased for him individually as well at that time, scoring the winner in a cup final, never to be forgotten, always to be in the memories of the Celtic supporters. The manager made some bold decisions on that day, some brave decisions, changed the team, but that's what good managers do. And David Hay got the success he deserved that day as well.
And there it goes. David Hay, after 2 years, has won his first trophy. And don't they realise it?
Again, at the end of the game, it was great for me. I got the Man of the Match award on that day as well, which was pleasing for me. It was a nice confidence booster, not that really mattered. The main thing for us was to win the game and lift that cup. And I mentioned before, especially in front of that huge Celtic support. And it was a sort of, a nice ending for me, because of the previous year had been disappointing with the sending off in the Aberdeen game in the cup final. So it was important for me to bounce back very quickly, as you have to do with Celtic, because you put it behind you quickly and move on to the next season. And that season we showed that we can be, a successful team and win the cup in such a dramatic fashion against such a good side.
Danny McGray received the Scottish Cup. The 5th time he's been in a cup-winning side. The man who scored that brilliant free kick, as I said, only 3 free kicks, direct free kicks scored. The other 2 were by Morton. And that's not to me, that's to the cameraman. Pierce O'Leary come on and played his part near the end. Boris Johnston. And each one greeted in a ritualistic way by the supporters. Tom McAdam, of whom high praise was given in that first half for a brilliant clearance. Brian McClare, the South, Pat Warner.
It was nice to win that cup. That was I think it was a 4th winner's medal in the Scottish Cup. When you lift that trophy, it's always a great feeling to show the fans the trophy, give them something to cheer about. It means that the whole summer, that's the benefit of the Scottish Cup final winner, is that they've got the whole summer to enjoy it, to enjoy the moment, to you know, share it with the team, because at the end of the day, it is a shared trophy. The players are out on the pitch doing their job, but the fans on the touchline, on the terracing, who again that day, they were like sucking us in towards that Dundee United goal, especially for that last 15, 20 minutes.
Yes, it feels like a huge night is ahead at Celtic Park as Brendan Rodgers and the boys aim for 3 points against Dundee. There's very much a title race on, but make no mistake, these players are up for the battle. The fans will lend their support, as they always do, when it feels like everyone is against you. That's often when you see the best in Celtic. It wasn't a vintage first half against Motherwell at the weekend, but that second half performance could act as a catalyst for more of the same tonight.
They work it to the edge of the area, and it's a great finish from Blair Spittle. Taylor with the cross, a decent one. What a cross, what a finish from Adam Ida. Soskovsky and the header, what a save from Hart. Nice pass to Johnson, lovely ball across, and it's a second goal, and it's another league winner by Adam Ida. Yang, it must be, it's a third for Celtic, and it's Lewis Palmer runs to the Celtic support.
Yeah, it's Dundee, the visitors to Celtic Park. Tony Docherty's side looking to cause an upset, because the optimist, or perhaps the realist, will tell you that the odds are still stacked in Celtic's favour. Kick-off is just under 13 minutes away. Yes, a very warm welcome to Celtic Park for tonight's Cinch Premiership match between Celtic and Dundee. Warm welcome, as always, to our Celtic TV subscribers, wherever you are watching across the globe. Closer to home, though, a very warm welcome to our pay-per-view viewers inside the UK and Ireland. I hope you're in for a treat. We'll do our best in the 30 minutes leading up to kick-off. After that, it's over to the players. Simon Donnelly, alongside me, knows what it's all about, playing under pressure here at Celtic Park. Simon, the boys have got a battle on their hands. How much are you looking forward to this one tonight?
I'm really looking forward to it, Jerry, to be honest. I think I said at the weekend, 12 cup finals, we're now down to 11. I would take a victory a lot earlier than the game at the weekend for stress levels, but that's purely on a selfish point of view. I think the guys have got another big game tonight. We're at home tonight against a team who are doing really well this season. Top six. Tony Docherty's doing a good job at Dundee. I don't think every game from now to the end is going to pose different challenges for the team. But they certainly showed a bit of character in that second half at the weekend, and we'll need more of that.
I think for any Celtic fan who's got a weak heart or doesn't like the excitement, is maybe the end of this season is maybe not going to be good for them, because there will be twists and turns. There will
be, and you know, you see it at the weekend there. We'll look at it in closer quarters in a minute, but the challenge was in the second half. The questions were posed again there, and the team came up with the answers, albeit it was a wee bit late. But they played well in that second half. I think getting the early goal, gave them that impetus to go and get the winner. But there's going to be swings and roundabouts between now and the end of the season, and it's how you handle it.
Absolutely. Well, the starting 11 for Brendan Rodgers tonight looks very like the finishing 11 at Fir Park. So 3 changes to that starting side. In comes Cameron Carter-Vickers for the injured Mike Nawrocki. Yang starts on the wing. He comes in for Kuhn, and it's Adam Ida who keeps his place up front. Kyogo is on the bench. So that's the starting 11 on your screen there for Celtic. As for Dundee, as I said, top 6. They've won 2 of the last 4 games. They're big underdogs tonight, of course. Young Owen Beck, the Liverpool left back, who went back to Dundee on loan after being recalled by Jurgen Klopp for a League Cup match. He is one to watch for them. Simon, you mentioned the likes of Adam Ida. Carter Vickers is a huge player to come back for Celtic, and Yang. Those are the 3 players that made the difference at the weekend. Is it different when you have to start the game? Is it a different expectation on you? Is it a different challenge for these players?
Yeah, because they're going to be asked to go and do it again. But the 3 of those guys, take Carter Vickers out of the equation because he's a mainstay in the Celtic team when he's fit. But the other 2 have got to take their opportunities. And tonight is a reward for what they did when they came on. They turned the game. Ida, 2 fantastic goals. Yang offered something a little bit different, you know, pace on the outside rather than working in the way. An assist with Palmer for the 3rd goal. So it's a reward for these guys. You know, here we see the game again, and it's not the ideal way to finish the first half. It's a well-worked goal from Motherwell's point of view, and a fantastic finish from Blair Spittle. And at that time we said this was going to be a huge 45 minutes, and this is how you respond. You know, a fantastic ball in for Greg Taylor. That's a very, very good header. You know, this lad's came in, okay, we didn't really know much about him, and there was a bit of criticism, but my goodness, what an opportunity, and he's taken it. You know, 4 goals he scored for the club, and you could argue 4 of the most important goals of the season.
Yeah.
Brilliant to see, and then obviously we get the icing on the cake at the end here, but they 3 players added something to the second half performance. And that's what it's going to take. The squad, you know, the guys on the bench tonight might be asked to go and do the same tonight. It's a very much a squad game, and you have to take your chance. But that lad is, you know, he's really impressed me since he came in.
It kind of feels like that game against Motherwell was slightly different, even though we were behind, because in recent times Brendan Rodgers has said after a game that we've either drawn or won, he said, well, we got away with it today. It felt like that performance in the second half, Celtic deserved to get that result. And I think that's why a lot of Celtic fans, me included, are asking the question, with that reaction and that performance, could that be the catalyst that they need to go on for more?
You would like to think so. You know, you watched the celebrations at the end of the game. They were delighted. The fans were there behind that goal. It's all, I think Liam Scales said it's nice to score at that time of the game. You know, the relief, the celebration. But, you know, their game in the second half merited goals before that. They had several chances. I think the goal early into the second half helps because you're back in the game. You're not chasing it as much, and you're back in the game, and it turns the momentum a wee bit. And then for the second half, it was just when it was coming. Obviously, it came very late.
It did, and you mentioned the reaction at full time, and it showed a real togetherness as well. So if anyone kind of suggests that there's any kind of disharmony, you know, that was put to bed. These players are fighting for each other.
I think the manager stressed that as well in his post-match interview. Listen, because of where the results went the day before, everybody knows the pressure, and it's going to be like that from now on for the rest of the season. It's a title race, and you are affected. It was a massive result because even a draw at the weekend would have left us 4 points behind. The fact that we kicked on and got the win, I think the boys will go into the game tonight with a huge lift, huge confidence.
Well, he came back into the side recently after a 4-match layoff with a calf injury. And when Greg Taylor is in the team, you really do see the benefit of his link-up play and his willingness to get forward down that left-hand side. It was his cross for Adam Ida that started the fight back on Sunday. And I caught up with Greg earlier this week at Lennoxtown to talk about it. Greg, you're back in the team after missing 4 games through injury. How good is it to be back, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel good. It's been no footballer likes to miss games, so I was no different, and it's definitely more nerve-wracking watching from the side, so it's good being able to involve and affect the games.
Yeah, you get 90 minutes against Motherwell. You made a real impact as well, providing the cross for Adam Ida to head Celtic level. Describe that moment and also what it was like to win that game so late on, having been behind at half-time.
Yeah, I think we probably realised we underperformed in the first 45. We didn't quite get to our levels, so I think 1-0 down, of course, going into the second half, we knew what we had to do, but getting that early goal and a great header from Adam really settled us down, and I think from there we really looked like we would push on, and it was a bit later on than we expected, but was still nice.
The manager changed the style of play at half-time to accommodate Adam and his threats. A very different player to Kyogo. How good is it to have that variety? And talk us through how your play adapts when the striker changes.
Yeah, I think not so much the system changed. I think it's just, as you say, Adam's strengths are a wee bit different to Kyogo's. So it gave us the opportunity. They were giving us quite a bit of space in like the half space areas to cross the ball. So that's probably where the 2 goals came from, was them areas, because I think they tried to narrow up the pitch Motherwell to stop us playing there. They know that we like to play intricate passing, etc. So Adam gave us a different target up there, and yeah, certainly it benefited us in the game.
Would I be right in saying that cross you put in for Adam, you wouldn't have made that cross had it been Kyogo?
Probably not. It's not that Kyogo isn't good in the air, because you see that the header he scores against Kilmarnock the week before he is. But it's just, I think, for that particular game, they were pretty rigid in their block and quite low, so I think that helped having Adam in the game.
Yeah, he's got such a physical presence up front. Perhaps something that the squad has been missing since Giacomakis left. Would I be fair enough in saying that?
Yeah, I think he's got different strengths to our other 2 strikers. You've got O and Kyogo, who have got their own strengths that they bring, and both really good goal scorers in their own defined right. So no, I think bringing Adam to the club was definitely, it's been a helping hand for the rest of us.
Celtic unbeaten in the last 11 games, which includes a couple of wins in the Scottish Cup. In most leagues in the world, this would be incredible form, but the expectations at Celtic are such that drawing a couple of games in the league can swing the momentum away and have some fans worried. There have also been games when you've had to pull it out the bag late on, when perhaps the team wasn't firing on all cylinders. Can a second half performance like the one against Motherwell act as a spark that ignites that confidence going forward?
Yeah, I hope so. We've got 11 league games left and hopefully 3 cup games, but I think it's important not to look too far ahead. Right now the most important game is the Dundee game, because it's the next one, and the rest after that will take care of itself. But we have to the manager spoke about every day trying to give the best version of yourself and training like it's your last, and then if you take that into the games, then the rest will take care of itself.
One thing that was noticeable was how the players reacted at full time, from Cameron and Alistair lying on the ground, embracing. I don't know if you've seen that picture. To the joy on the faces of the whole squad. It shows that there's a real togetherness. Would I be right in saying that? And in your experience, how key is that the players stick together through the ups and the downs?
Of course, it's that's going to be it's the same in every season. You're going to have highs and lows. It's just about trying to enjoy the moments that are high and not get too down with the low moments, because there's always a game around the corner, and we understand that there is a title challenge this year, but we've got a strong squad in there with experience that are ready for it.
You mentioned that title challenge, the race is very much on. How much do you relish that?
Yeah, of course, it's important that we find our levels, and I think in the second half against Motherwell we did that, but it's important that we take that into the whole 90 minutes against Dundee.
Yeah, how important is it to follow up that good win with a strong performance and another 3 points?
Yeah, of course, it's vital, but that is all we're thinking on is this Dundee game now, because as I touched on, it's the next one, and we want to not only do it for 45 minutes, we want to do it for the whole game, and I think having bodies like Cameron back and Adam coming into form like that is it's only going to help us.
To have Greg back to a full 90 minutes. Great to have Cameron, Carter-Vickers. In fact, there's your back 4 tonight. Taylor, Cameron, Liam Scales and Alistair Johnson, who himself has just come back from injury. So that's quite probably your first choice back 4 that starts for Celtic tonight. Greg Taylor, Simon, how important is he to the setup? I always think in recent seasons the fullbacks have become pivotal to so much at Celtic, probably more so going forward.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, obviously they're defenders, but Greg has shown in the last few seasons that he's more than capable of getting forward. The game at the weekend's a great example, putting the ball in for Ada for the first goal. But you look at that back 4, that's probably the recognised strongest back 4. You know, Liam Scales has fought his way in brilliantly this season, but the other 3 have been there over the last season or 2. So Greg, it's great to see him back in. But he's one of the players, he doesn't hide, he wants to get the ball, he picks it up in good areas. And as he showed at the weekend, he's got a good delivery. I think asking that question to him there, yes, Kyogo scored with his head last week, but he was picked out unopposed. That one was flung in, and I think he went between 2 defenders. I think that physical presence encourages people to put balls in like that, and it was a fantastic header.
Brendan Rodgers is a very positive manager, so no doubt in his analysis of that game with the team, they'll have focused a lot about what they did right in the second half. So, you know, when you do a kind of a deeper dive into how different Celtic played in the second half, and when you see it as starkly as this little kind of highlights package, you know, this looks like a really dominant performance with a lot of goal-scoring chances.
Yeah, it does. It was day and night in comparison to the first half. I don't think they created much at all in the first half. Sometimes that happens. But the addition of Ida, and it's no reflection on Kyogo because he's been fantastic for the club, but just the addition of him, he seemed to come on and instigate something. You know, he held the ball up a little bit, he allowed people to come up and play off him. And look at these chances that he start getting. Obviously, the goal gives you a lift. That's why I'm thinking that 10 minutes or whatever it was into that second half, that was a big goal.
Yeah.
Because the longer that half goes at 1-0, you can get frustrated, you can think, you know, get desperate.
I should say these chances obviously didn't all come before the goals. We're just showing you the other chances.
Yeah. But I think the goal helped. You know, it gets you back in the game. Obviously, I mean, here's another one. You could have had a hat-trick on the day. Didn't get enough on that header.
But then the goals again.
This one here, it's fantastic. He rises, he gets between the two Motherwell players, and it's a real centre-forward's header. And that one's a good one as well. You know, he gets across the front this time. How many times have we seen the likes of little Kyogo do that in seasons? And this one was just, as I said earlier, the icing on the cake at the end. But it was a great second half. And Jerry, you're not always going to get it your own way. You know, people expect Celtic to go and people roll over week in, week out. And they're saying, oh, but we're only performing for a half. It sometimes takes you a half to get into the game. You know, you've got to give Motherwell credit in that first half at Fir Park. It's a difficult game. Tonight they'll hope to get out the blocks quickly, but it's not always your own way. You don't always get it your own way.
The irony is it could be the second half where Kyogo comes off the bench and becomes the hero.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you're looking. Brendan will be really happy with the impact the subs made at the weekend. That's what they're there for. You know, if the game isn't going the way you would like, can someone come on and make a positive impact? And 3 of them did.
They did indeed. Kyogo there on the bench tonight. But I'm sure we'll see him at some point. Let's hear from the manager then, Brendan Rodgers. He's been speaking to John Ledwith.
Brendan, I'll start with team selection tonight. Ida, Yang and Cameron Carter-Vickers start. What impressed you most about the influence they had on Sunday?
Well, just the impact, but also it's more, you know, we get tough run of games this week. Really good performance second half and result Sunday. And obviously a quick turnaround, so it's just giving us that freshness in the key areas. Obviously Cam coming back is huge for us just in terms of stability, but yeah, a really good bench to affect the game if we need it.
I was going to say that if Sunday taught us anything, it's that it is a squad game and we're going to need everyone to play a big part.
Yeah, there's no starting 11. I think it's in the modern game now, you obviously you pick a team to start the game, but it's really about your finishing 11, and that sort of demonstrated that at the weekend.
And it's been difficult on occasions here at Celtic Park. Teams will obviously sit in and make it tough. What's the key to unsettling Dundee tonight?
Well, I think it's like in our last performance. It was when we were up there, we started the game very well. We started at tempo. We never were comfortable in the game in terms of our physicality. We were physical in the game, and that's going to be important tonight. So, but we're at home. You know, we want to play to the level that we want to, and that's all about the speed, dynamism, running off the ball, and we can do that, and then hopefully we can create many chances.
Best of luck, Brendan. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Carl.
Penalty.
The referee doesn't even have to go and check it. He's been told. He points to the spot. It is a penalty. He steps forward and he blasts it straight down the middle. Back to McGregor. There's a Dundee player down as the ball curled into the ball. Kyogo! Phil Johnson knocks that one forward towards Kyogo. Wonderful ball. Plays it back. It's a chance. O'Reilly! Oh, that's a wonderful goal!
Palmer now, Cammy Care, he's slid the ball for Bernardo, and it's went into the goal. It is a goal. That's inside on the right foot. It's Mikey Johnson. Goes for goal, and he's got the goal. Johnston. Here's Johnston. Nice interplay. Here's Johnston. What an impact from Mikey Johnston.
Celtic have done well against Dundee so far this season, as you can see there. Hopefully get more of the same tonight. Kick-off is around 10 minutes away. You have about 10 minutes then to get yourself a ticket for the Paradise Windfall. If you are inside the UK and Ireland, then you are eligible for the £10,000 jackpot tonight for a £2 ticket, courtesy or via the Celtic Pools app. That puts you in the draw for that £10,000. Please visit begambleaware.org, and I should say you've got to be at least 18 years of age to take part in the Paradise Windfall. OK, let's hear from Liam Scales. He's with John.
Liam, it was late drama and a deserved win on Sunday, but what has that comeback done for the mood and the spirit in the camp going into tonight?
Yeah, it's great for morale. You know, we were very good, especially in the second half. I think first half was a slow start, and we turned it on in the second half, and I think we deserved to win the game, and it's sort of that little bit sweeter when it happens like the way it did, and I'm delighted for Adam. But it gives us a good boost now going into the next couple of games before the international break, so we're looking forward to getting another one out of the way tonight.
And I know the intention will be to continue that, but is it safe to say with 11 games to go, it's almost treating each one like a cup final now?
Exactly, that's it. We need to just keep knocking the games off one by one. There's no point looking past your next games, you know, that's when you trip up, and right now that's what we're focused on at next game.
I mean, the stakes are high. It's good to have big players returning. For you, you'll have Cameron Carter-Vickers beside you at the back. What does that mean for the team overall? What does he bring?
Yeah, Cam was brilliant when he came on the other day, and you know, he brings sort of a calming presence. He's experienced. He's a top player, so no, I'm happy to be playing beside him, and it's great to have him back.
Good luck tonight, Liam.
Thank you.
Liam Scales there a few minutes ago talking to John Ledwith. All right, let's just change topic ever so slightly. Instead of talking about the men's team, I want to talk to you about the Celtic FC women's team, because there's still a chance for you to get yourself a half-season ticket for the remaining home games of the season. Elena Sadiku is the new Celtic FC women's manager. Of course, she came in when Fran Alonso left to become a manager of the Houston Dash in America. Since then, the women's team have done really well. In fact, they're unbeaten in their last 4 games in February, all away from home, but they're at home at the weekend. In fact, Sunday's game against Partick Thistle will be the first league home game for Celtic FC women's new manager Elena Sadiku. You always get great entertainment with the women's team. One thing you do get in the SWPL is a lot of goals. Celtic sitting just 4 points off the top. Still got to play Rangers and Glasgow City, the other 2 main threats for silverware. Still got to play both of those sides twice, so some great entertainment. And as I said to you, your chance still, but you've only got until 10:30 tomorrow morning if you want to purchase yourself a half-season ticket. The women's team play at the Excelsior Stadium in Airdrie. Please visit CelticFC.com for more details if you wish to get yourself a half-season ticket. It really is great value, and as I said, plenty of entertainment as well. Not long to go until kick-off now. We'll see the players coming out. Will we get a feel early on, Simon, in the game as to how this one will transpire? Dundee, are they the kind of team that will come here and sit in, make it difficult to break down, as the old cliche?
I think, like most teams, they will do. They'll try and frustrate. They'll try and get themselves into the game without giving anything away. It's down to Celtic to come out and, you know, take the game to Dundee as we normally do at home. I'm just thinking of the guys that did come on, Yang and Ida. You know, if that was me after putting a performance in like that at the weekend, I'd be chomping at the bit to get the next game started and try and take that form into it.
Just taking Yang, for instance, I mean, there is a bit of pressure on him tonight, but as a professional footballer, these are the opportunities, surely, that you hope come your way.
Absolutely. He's trying to fight his way into the team. I remember watching him, one of the best performances this season was out there against Aberdeen, I think it was, when him and Palmer were excellent. He's a young lad, he's in a new environment here this first season at Celtic. He's been away with South Korea, he's back now. There's an opportunity here for him. He's done well to get into the starting 11. As you touched on earlier on, sometimes it is a little bit of a different pressure. You're now in the 11, you now have to keep the jersey rather than coming on to try and do something with half an hour of the game to go.
One player we haven't mentioned is Tomoki. I know a lot of Celtic fans were happy with how he performed. Gives Callum McGregor the chance to come forward and, as the manager says, add a bit of dynamism to the midfield in an attacking sense.
Yeah, I thought he read the game brilliantly at the weekend. I like him as a player. We just haven't seen enough of him. You know, he's been injured a lot of his time here. Must be frustrating for him. He came with a good profile. I like him as a player. I think there's a position there for him if he can go and get a run of games. But I thought he was excellent at the weekend.
Yeah, fills that role well. The unfortunate thing for Tomoki is that if you're looking for someone really good to sit in that number 6 position, if you like, then there's no one better than Callum McGregor. But it just shows you how much the manager relies on Callum, that if he wants to add a bit of dynamism to the forward play of the midfield, then he's looking to Callum as well.
Yeah, he's a talented footballer, Callum. We've seen the pass that he made to Kyogo in the first half. I think that was the only intricate pass or penetrating pass that we had in that first half. He's capable of that. I like him further forward. I think he's got a lot more to offer. He can play that holding role as well, but with Iwata in there, it allows him to a wee bit freer to move forward with O'Reilly and hopefully create some things for Celtic.
We know that Joe Hart announced his retirement from football. What an unbelievable career Joe Hart has had. He's loved his time here. Very keen to make sure that is now put to bed. He wants to focus on the job in the hand. He's not had too quiet a time of it recently. He's been called in to make some incredible saves, hasn't he?
Made a save, I think it was at 1 each at the weekend. And we kind of forgot about Iwata's performance there. We almost forgot about that. That was at 1-1. I think the lad Lennon Miller,
wasn't it?
With a great header, and it's right above him, and he makes a crucial save. And we know in recent games he's been popping up with crucial saves. He's still a class act. Obviously, he's decided it's time for him to hang up the boots or the gloves, so to speak. But he's a big player for Celtic, and it's a position, you know, a big position to fill at the end of the season.
I mentioned at the start that when you feel as if everyone's against you, you've got that kind of, you know, herd mentality. Everybody sticks together. The manager's been getting a bit of stick, you know, externally this week. Do you get the sense that everyone's together?
The
supporters,
Celtic,
group, players, management.
I do, and I think
more so this week.
Yeah, I think the result of the weekend. Obviously, there's always going to be grumblings if you're not getting the right result. You know, the 1-1 last week. Nobody's happy, from players right through to fans. The way the game finished at the weekend, I think, gave everybody a lift. It's closed that gap again. You know, there's big games elsewhere tonight as well. Concentrate ourselves and go out and get the job done here.
I know you don't like being put on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your prediction?
I think Ida will score again tonight, and I will go 3-0 Celtic.
3-0 Celtic. We hope something close to that would settle for the 3 points before that tricky trip to Tynecastle on Sunday. I can assure you the lights will be on when the game starts, but just to inject a little bit of atmosphere into what is one of the greatest stadiums in European football. The lights are on tonight, the light show, the atmosphere is building. We will just await the teams coming out, being led by Callum McGregor. Of course, it is Celtic against Dundee, match day 28 of the Cinch Premiership. And your commentators tonight are Paul Cuddihy and Peter Grant.
Well, certainly, Jerry, we're hoping the lights will be back on for the action. I'm sure they will. The light show round Paradise, a very wet and windy Paradise, the rain lashing down, but the Celtic fans out in their numbers looking for another 3 vital league points tonight following that 3-1 victory over Motherwell at the weekend. Of course, we're in the slightly unusual position tonight of having, well, 5 out of the 6 Scottish Premiership games on at the same time. That very rarely happens now, so we're hoping at certain random points in the game when nothing much is happening here, we'll suddenly have a big cheer that will come up from everyone who will be checking on their phones for matters elsewhere, probably specifically Rugby Park. But of course it's all about what Brendan Rodgers' side do tonight against Dundee. Simon Donnelly predicting a 3-0 victory. That was the score in the 2 previous occasions that the sides have met back here in September. David Turnbull penalty, Kyogo and Matt O'Reilly gave Celtic the 3-0 victory, and then on Boxing Day we headed up to Dens Park. Paulo Bernardo got on the score sheet, and Mikey Johnson, now on loan at West Bromwich Albion, got a double for another 3-0 victory. So we will certainly take that again this evening, and Celtic will certainly be boosted by that second half performance at Fir Park at the weekend. And Adam Ida starts tonight. 4 goals so far in 5 games, plus an assist at Pittodrie in that 1-1 draw, so a good return already for the Irishman too. Fine finishes at the weekend helped Celtic get all 3 points and get back to winning ways, and he'll be certainly looking for his first Celtic Park goal tonight. Of course, those other 2 goals came at Easter Road in a 2-1 victory over Hibernian. Callum McGregor, of course, captaining Celtic tonight, as always. The referee leads out the sides, Matthew McDermott. I can tell you that Ewan Anderson is the VAR referee. Joe Shaughnessy, the Dundee captain. Celtic in the green and white hoops, Dundee in dark blue. Tony Docherty side will be pleased with how they're performing this season. They're in the top 6 on merit. They are a difficult side to beat, but Celtic, of course, have their sights set on the top of the table, and they'll certainly be looking for the 3 points tonight. Brendan Rodgers makes 3 changes to the side that started at Thurrock Park. Cameron Carter-Vickers comes in for the injured Mike Narowski. Yang and Ida, they both start, having come on as substitutes, and there's a 50th Celtic appearance for Alistair Johnson tonight, so a good milestone for the Canadian internationalist, who started the game at the weekend with his mask on but is maskless tonight, so a big night for him. Been a fine signing since he joined the club. Tony Docherty makes 5 changes to his side. They had won back-to-back games against St Johnstone and Ross County, but at the weekend they lost 2-1 away to Hibernian, so 5 changes for the visitors tonight, and Tony Docherty will be looking for a response. As I said, he's done very well with this Dundee side, his first managerial role, and they're certainly targeting a top 6 finish, but it's all about Celtic tonight and ensuring that the 3 points stay at Paradise. You'll never walk alone. Echoes round the stadium. As I say, the rain is absolutely lashing down the Celtic players in the huddle. A fine sight, a fine sound, and I'm sure Callum McGregor will be telling the players it's all about how we start this game. It will be the visitors to get the game underway. The referee just checking with his officials, Matthew McDermott.